They are conjoined twins, and it's very rare for conjoined twins to make it and to live.
And I'm legitimately, my legs are sweating, everything, it's awful, and she's fine.
Abby and Brittany Hensel shocked everyone when they revealed that something happened and it was so big they almost decided to separate. With two heads and one body, every decision they face is twice as hard, but they've always stayed united. What could possibly make them consider such a life-changing choice? Tune in to uncover what pushed them to the edge of separation and a turning point in their lives. The strength of shared lives. Conjoined twins are super rare, like 1 in 200,000 births rare. And even rarer is surviving beyond babyhood. Abby and Brittany beat those odds. Born with two heads but one body, they faced complicated health issues from day one. Each of them has their own heart and stomach, but other organs like the liver are shared. When they were born, doctors didn't expect them to make it.
The medial lung on both sides seems to be fused in the middle, and that may be as one would expect.
The Hensel family braced themselves for the worst, but the twins not only survived, they thrived. Their survival was the first in a long line of impossible achievements. Their parents, Patty and Mike, decided early that their daughters would be treated like any other kids, individuals with their own dreams, and it made all the difference. Before we delve into this, it's clear that the choice Abby and Brittany faced was far more difficult than anyone could have imagined, and what they decided will leave you stunned. Growing up wasn't a walk in the park. Every little movement had to be coordinated perfectly, since one twin controls the right side and the other handles the left. Imagine having to learn how to walk when you and someone else have to move as one. It's a huge challenge. But that's exactly what these girls did, with patience and a lot of practice. They were always encouraged to be active, play outside, and develop their own personalities. They loved riding bikes, playing the piano, each using one hand, and hanging out with friends, just like other kids. Sure, they fought sometimes, but their bond was never in doubt. One of the most incredible things was how they managed everyday stuff like typing on a keyboard or swimming. They adapted and made it work, proving time and time again that teamwork was their superpower. The topic of separation hung over them as they grew older. Doctors made it clear, separation surgery would be extremely dangerous. The twins shared too many vital organs, and the risk of losing one of them or both was high. Their parents were torn. The thought of giving their daughters a chance at individual lives was tempting, but the risks were just too great. When they got older, they themselves considered it. The thought of having their own separate lives felt massive, almost too big to handle. The what-ifs filled their minds for a while. What would life be like if each of them had their own body, their own space? They spent long hours talking it over, thinking about what it could mean for their future. In the end, they chose not to go through with the separation. They realized that what they had was too precious to risk. The physical bond wasn't just about their shared organs, it was also about a deep emotional connection. The thought of living apart seemed impossible. They had always been a team. Their shared life wasn't a burden, but a reality they had embraced fully. This decision was a turning point for them, a declaration of independence in its own way. They weren't just surviving, they were choosing how to live on their own terms.
That's winning the argument of what they're doing or what they're wearing.
When we bought these shoes, it was a huge argument.
After deciding to stay together, they focused on what came next, living life to the fullest. School was a huge part of their path. They attended regular high school, took part in activities, and graduated with honors. They even went on to Bethel University to study education, driven by their love for teaching. College life was no picnic for conjoined twins. Just navigating the campus took creativity, but they made it happen. Today, they're both elementary school teachers. Their students love them, not just because they're unique, but because of how they teach. Always as a team, always supportive. Their message to the kids is simple: you can do anything if you put in the effort. For the twins, daily life is about constant cooperation. They have to work together to do everything. Get dressed, eat, even drive. Yes, they drive. Each controls one side of the car, and their coordination is amazing. Even their personalities are different. One is more outspoken, while the other is more laid back. Despite their differences, they've learned to compromise and find balance. Whether at work, with friends, or just hanging out, they approach everything with a good sense of humor. They don't focus on what makes them different. They focus on what makes them, well, them. Their early years were all about working together, but as they got older, new problems came up that tested how strong their bond was. Facing health challenges together. Sharing a body also means sharing health issues. Something as simple as a cold can turn serious fast. Over the years, they've needed surgeries and faced medical scares. Through it all, they've remained resilient, leaning on each other for strength. Their positive attitude is what keeps them going, even when things get tough. They've built a close bond with their doctors and always approach their health with caution and care. Naturally, people wonder about their love lives. They've been open about wanting meaningful relationships. Finding a partner isn't easy for anyone, and for them, it's even more complicated. They've said they want someone who loves them for who they are, not because of their unique situation. They don't share many details about their personal lives, but what's clear is they aren't letting societal expectations hold them back. They want to live authentically, and they won't settle for anything less. The twins first got the world's attention through TV and documentaries. Their reality show, Abby and Brittany, aired in 2012 and gave people a peek into their everyday lives. It showed their challenges, their fun moments, and everything in between. People loved it, and they became an inspiration. Through the media, they've used their story to educate others and challenge stereotypes. Their message is clear. Their lives are full of laughter, challenges, and love, just like anyone else's. The story of Abby and Brittany is a lesson in resilience. They face challenges that would seem impossible to most people, but they've never let it stop them. Deciding not to separate was a choice based on love and understanding their own needs. Their path is a reminder that happiness comes from accepting who you are and making the most of what you have. They've shown that working together, having a positive attitude, and staying determined can help you face any obstacle. As they move forward, the twins are focused on making their lives meaningful. They're not worrying too much about what's to come. They're all about living in the moment.
I hate getting my nails done. I just hate it. So it was definitely a compromise thing because Brittany doesn't like it and I do and Kayla does. So we did it.
Their story isn't over, and people are excited to see what they'll do next. Whether they're teaching, traveling, or just enjoying their lives, they prove every day that life is what you make of it. Their decision to stay together was about more than survival. It was about embracing the bond that makes them unique. And through that choice, they've shown the world what real courage looks like. When Abby and Brittany looked into getting separated, it was a huge moment, almost like standing at a crossroads. Imagine being connected to someone your whole life, then one day realizing you might have the chance to be on your own. It's something that's hard to even think about for most people. For Abby and Brittany, it wasn't just about whether they could physically survive the surgery. It was about whether they even wanted to go through with something that would change everything. After a lot of thinking, they chose each other, the life they knew, and the bond that kept them strong. This decision wasn't about fear, it was about knowing what mattered most. Abby and Brittany have something that is so rare, and they knew that taking a risk like that could end up breaking what made them special. They weren't willing to risk losing each other or the way they lived, and because of that choice, they've been able to live the kind of life that's full, one where they get to make their own choices, be their own people, and still be there for each other in every way. Their life is about more than just getting by. It's about thriving, finding joy, and staying true to themselves. Thinking about separating was scary, but it also brought them closer. It forced them to have those hard talks, to be real with each other about what they wanted and what scared them. In the end, they realized that their bond was worth more than the idea of living apart. It's like they came out on the other side of that choice with an even stronger sense of what it means to be Abby and Brittany. They know what's at stake every day, their health, their happiness, their partnership. And they've decided that it's all worth it. Even with health challenges and the hope of finding love, sharing their story with the world brought both good and bad attention. Living beyond expectations. Today, Abby and Brittany are living proof that you don't need to fit into anyone else's definition of what's normal or possible. They've done things people never thought they could do. They've taught kids, traveled, and shown the world that their lives are just as full as anyone else's. And they did all this after almost being split apart. It's a decision that's become part of their story, a reminder of how they face the hardest challenges and still come out stronger. Their lives are a testament to the idea that being different doesn't mean being less. It means finding a way to make your own mark on the world. Their story is not only inspiring, but also serves as a powerful lesson in the importance of unity, resilience, and choosing one's path. Abby and Brittany have faced some of the toughest situations imaginable, and they have come out the other side not just intact, but thriving. Their decision to remain together wasn't just a choice, it was a testament to their love for each other, their shared life, and the understanding that their bond is irreplaceable. This decision to stay conjoined, despite the difficulties, was their way of showing the world that they value what they have together far more than what they might gain alone. Throughout their lives, they have constantly pushed boundaries. From learning how to drive, to navigating through college, to becoming beloved teachers, they've never let their physical condition dictate what they could or could not achieve. Their passion for teaching and the love and support they get from their students is evidence that they have much to give to the world.
We do have an interview coming up in Texas over spring break, so that's an option as well.
Every challenge they have faced has been met with a determination to adapt, to overcome, and to find joy in the everyday moments that life has to offer. As they continue to live their lives, Abby and Brittany understand better than anyone that the future is uncertain. The decision they made to not separate was one born out of wisdom beyond their years. It was not about fearing what lay ahead, but rather knowing exactly what they stood to lose. Their lives now are a reflection of what happens when we choose love, acceptance, and resilience in the face of the unknown. Even as they grow older, the question of what the future holds is one they choose to face together. Their positive outlook on life, their refusal to be seen as anything less than capable, and their commitment to each other have allowed them to break barriers. They have never allowed society's preconceived notions to define them. Abby and Brittany are an enduring symbol of what it means to embrace oneself fully, differences, challenges, and all, and make the most of every opportunity life presents. As they continue to move forward, they remind us all of the beauty of unity. Their lives are a powerful testament to love, strength, and the unique path they have chosen to travel together. They've proven that even when life gives you challenges that seem impossible, it's possible to not only survive, but to thrive and find joy in the extraordinary. Their path is far from over, and there's no doubt that Abby and Brittany will continue to live their lives to the fullest, facing whatever comes their way side by side. After showing how strong they could be, their story became part of a bigger picture of others who lived unique and hard lives. Lives that captured the world. Conjoined twins have always been a curiosity, a rare kind of existence that many can't quite grasp. And it's not just Abby and Brittany Hensel that have caught the world's eye. Throughout history, several conjoined twins became famous, not necessarily because they wanted to, but because the world couldn't look away. Some of these stories are triumphant, while others are grim reminders of how society loves to put those who are different under a microscope. Take Chang and Ing Bunker, for instance. Born in 1811 in Siam, now known as Thailand, these two were the originals in terms of conjoined fame. They were joined at the chest by a band of cartilage, even sharing a liver, which made it impossible to separate them in those days. In the 19th century, they became one of the biggest attractions around, being paraded across countries like some kind of sideshow exhibit. They even got labeled the Siamese twins, which is a term that stuck around way too long. Eventually, they managed to settle in the United States, marry a couple of sisters, and between them they had 21 kids. Imagine that, 21. But it wasn't all roses. Their lives showed just how complicated things could get when you're trying to find some semblance of normalcy while the world's obsessed with your uniqueness. Then there were Millian and Christine McCoy, born in 1851 in North Carolina. Now their story is one of true resilience. But it starts dark. Born into slavery, they were sold off like property, bought by showmen who saw dollar signs when they looked at them. The twins were pygopagus, joined at the lower spine. Instead of just enduring the grim hand they were dealt, they made the best of it. They developed their talents, singing, dancing, and were marketed as the two-headed nightingale. They toured internationally, gaining fame and eventually securing their freedom. But think about that. gaining fame for survival. Their talent was undeniable, but the backdrop of exploitation never really disappeared. Daisy and Violet Hilton's story was no less tragic. Born in 1908 in England, they were ischiopagus twins, joined at the pelvis. Their own mother sold them off to a woman who essentially molded them into performers from birth. It wasn't a nurturing environment, it was a business plan. The girls learned to sing, dance, and play musical instruments, and for a time they became big stars. They even made it to the silver screen, starring in films like Freaks in 1932 and Chained for Life in 1951. Despite their fame, the exploitation never ended. They had to fight in court just to get a shot at controlling their own lives. Their story is yet another reminder of how society has a way of glamorizing the very people it abuses. Lori and George Chappelle were born in 1961 in Pennsylvania, and they have a story that's all about individuality despite physical connection. They were craniopagus twins, meaning they were joined at the head. Despite sharing some brain tissue, they managed to live very distinct lives. Lori worked a pretty normal job in a hospital laundry, while George, who was known as Reba back then, pursued a career in country music. Then, in 2007, George transitioned to male, making them the first known conjoined twins to identify as different genders. If that's not individuality, I don't know what is. Their life wasn't easy, but they didn't let their connection define who they were, a pretty powerful message for anyone, really. And who could forget Ronnie and Donnie Gallion? Born in 1951 in Ohio, these guys were omphalopagus twins, joined at the abdomen. They had a record-breaking run as the longest-living conjoined twins, passing away at 68 in 2020. For much of their early lives, they performed in sideshows, which might sound strange, but it's how they supported their family financially. Later in life, they chose privacy over the spotlight, living quietly in their hometown. Their story offers a different look at conjoined life. Sometimes it's just about getting by and being with family without the world watching. Then there's the case of Masha and Dasha Krivoshlyapova, born in 1950 in Russia. These twins were what's called dicephalous tetrabrachius, tripus twins. That means 2 heads, 4 arms, and 3 legs. If you think their lives were hard, you'd be right. Born into the Soviet Union, they became subjects of medical experiments, often kept in isolation and treated more like test subjects than people. But despite all that, they developed distinct personalities. One liked one thing, the other liked something else. It's a tragic story, really, a reminder of how badly society can get it wrong when it comes to treating those who are different with dignity. Looking at all these stories, from Chang and Ing to Masha and Dasha, there's a common thread. The world is obsessed with what it doesn't understand, and conjoined twins are no exception. People want to look, to stare, to prod, and to know all the details. But at the core of it, these are just people trying to live their lives with all the complexities and joys that come with being human. Is Abby and Brittany's choice to stay together truly their best decision, or could separation have given them a better life? Share your thoughts and remember to like and subscribe for more.